that summer jam, skate shoes and that marching band.
First heartbreak, first slow dance. Now I'm just trying to make sense of plans.
Oh, take me back to the roof.
Hey folks, welcome to Healing Grassroots. I am your weekly host, Stacy McCaskill from Hemp Farms, and I am super excited to do another recipe tonight. We are doing we're calling it so far anyways, Woodstock Wildgreens Pesto. Oh, I think we should pull up our mock-up too and show them the mock-up bag.
Yeah.
Maybe later. That'd be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Later in the show. So this is actually a product that we're developing for Hemp Farms, and look to see this new product in a freezer section in a grocery store near you. We hope eventually. This would be one of our new healing-based kind of funnel foods. And I'm going to show you tonight, give you the recipe. So if you are growing these herbs in your own garden, or if you have access to a great farmer's market like we do, or a great local grocery like the Food Shed, or you're signed up for a CSA, a community-supported agricultural space like Adama Farms, like we are, you can get access certainly to all of these fresh vegetables that we'll be putting into our pesto today. So, do you have that video or the photo
just
at all?
1 second.
Yeah, no worries. We'll pull it up in a minute. Am I a split screen? Can you see my countertop?
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. I'm feeling good today. I think this is going to be a super fun show. I just bounced those all on Leon to like we've been talking for an hour, and I just asked them like 2 minutes or into the show to pull things up for me.
Yeah,
so I gotta do better. We gotta do better at that.
Your camera is up.
Oh, okay, cool. So what you're seeing here is I made a little test batch of the pesto last night. That's about a half batch. And what we make today should fill this, what is that, a pint container? Should fully fill that little container. And I'll run through the recipe. We have it on on 2 sheets. It was real hurriedly put together, so it's not like fancy produced or anything. But I have the full recipe there, which we're going to walk through tonight. And then I also have photos of each of the herbs, so that if you get kind of confused and you buy all these things and you put them in your fridge like I did, and you pull it out and you're like, oh my gosh, which is what, which is the sage, and which is the oregano, and which is the marjoram, and which is the basil. We put up photos to help you easily identify the different ingredients as you're putting together your recipe. So we're going to work on that tonight. But before I get into that recipe and we show you the video and all of that, I did want to I want to do this, this kind of update on hemp. And I'm going to kind of incorporate it with, occasionally I open the show with a verse or a thought or something that's been put on my heart that I want to share. And today, what was put on my heart is this, I want to talk about Philippians chapter 1, verses 15 through 18, and just give you the little setup for this and why I so relate to this verse that I'm going to read to you. This is Paul talking from prison. All right. Already I kind of identify with Paul because he wasn't one of the OGs. He like came along later. He had the big revelation, like, wow, Jesus Christ is really something. And then he came on. He wasn't one of the original disciples. So he was kind of a late comer to the game. I totally relate to that in this cannabis hemp space because I am not OG. I am not the culture. I came into this thing late, and, the scales fell from my eyes, and I saw this plant cannabis, and I was like, wow, this is amazing what this plant can do. And that's why we launched Hemp Farms and started on this path to healing. But anyways, in this passage, it so relates to what we're going through right now with the apocalypse, because Paul was in prison. And while he was in prison, his friends were writing him letters saying, you know, there's people out and they're like starting their own little groups and they're doing their own little thing and they're trying to get all the glory for, you know, getting their little churches going and stuff. And Paul's response to them was, I don't care. As long as Christ is being preached, I take joy in that. So the way that hit me was I thought, the hempocalypse is here. We're getting ready to sit in prison. All right. The hempocalypse is here. It's all being taken away from us. But I'm still going to be joyful because the plant's still out there. And I don't care who's dealing with it, whether it's big cannabis or big pharma or whoever. I'm going to take joy in the fact that we still have access to this plant. And, you know, it might change the way that we're personally involved with it and the way that, you know, the kind of products that we can make you and stuff. But I'm still going to find joy in that, you know, as long as Christ's name is preached, as long as that cannabis is still out there and it's not suppressed, I'm going to take joy in that. So that's my thought of the day, instead of getting all angsty and upset with big pharma and big cannabis. Just take joy. Let everybody get access to it. So, you know, you could debate the maha and, you know, CBD, and like we could have a big, long, let's smoke a joint and have a big, long conversation about that sometime at the Healing Center. Come on by. Okay, so I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah.
And we don't turn the AC on. We're gonna have to figure out something in the summertime, because we don't turn the AC on because it's gonna be loud.
It's right over there.
Yeah, it's like right over there. So, all right, let's get down to the pesto. Let me take a drink of this delicious boba I just made. Try to cool down. Oh my gosh, I made a boba. Green tea, pineapple, and we use pureed fruit without any sugar added. Pineapple, banana, lemon juice, and our cheese foam. It is fire. It's so good. Okay. Our pesto that we're making tonight is so good too. So show the video of kind of like, these are all the greens. I cleaned them up. I had them all laying out on the table. So you can kind of show us the video. And it was so, can you still hear me as I talk over the video?
Yes,
It was so funny because that music that's playing, my mom was on hold with her bank, and that was the music it was playing. And I thought, oh, this is perfect, appropriate music. So that's somebody's hold music. So I hope that's public domain. The bank's hold music.
There was music going.
Yeah, my mom was on the phone with her bank, and that was the hold music. It's like do 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 do. I thought that was so perfect for showing my little Wonderland woodland.
Oh, I'm sure it's.
My woodland greens. So anyways, okay, here we go. So all of these herbs that I have sourced that go into this, I got everything local. Either it came in Jessica's basket, the Adam Farms basket, or it came from Jane Colby's backyard, or it came from the farm's yard, wild harvested from the farm, or I went to the local farmer's market and, oh yeah, there's Adam Farms. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
There's the Adam Farms, or it came from the local farmer's market, or from the food shed. Those are kind of my big go-tos. So the first thing that we have here is we have fennel fronds. And so I'm going to kind of show you how I prep these things. I like to buck these and just kind of pull off the lacy part of it rather than even chop it up. Sometimes all this is going to go into a food processor. And sometimes as you're using that food processor, it won't quite get the chop to happen. And instead, you'll get like a long stringy piece. And I think we were pretty successful in this test batch. As you look at it, you know, it looks pretty smooth. And so that's the goal. You don't want any, like there's a little bit of a string right there maybe. But the goal is that you want it all chopped up really nice and have real nice consistency to it. And so I think if you kind of buck these fronds like that, buck just means to pop the things off of there. And then let these long kind of more tough pieces, either discard them or you can throw them in a pot of tea and make a little herbal tea with them. I mean, they still have a lot of flavor. I don't want that mouth. I'm very into like texture of the mouth. I want to make sure we got that going on. So my recipe that'll be posted calls for 2/3 of a cup lightly packed. So you're not like packing it so tight so that it's like that. You know, you're just kind of more like that's how we would pack it. Avery, can you grab me a cup or 1/3 of a cup? Do we have one somewhere, a measuring cup? I forgot to grab that. 1 cup will work. 1/3 would be even better.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Perfect. There's a 1/3 cup right there. So just going to buck these here. And again, I'm just kind of showing you like there's this woody. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. This is super tender. So you could use this in another dish if you wanted or chop it up. But for the pesto, and this is kind of like my production video for my crew eventually when we do this in the commercial kitchen. So they'll know kind of how to clean some of the vegetables, even how I want them done. And this pesto, it's all about doing this super fresh, blending it up. And then what we're going to do is either you're going to use it fresh, like that pesto was made yesterday, or you're going to pop it in the freezer and then use it as needed. You know, and that's one of the things that as we're looking at different, functional foods, you know, food is medicine, that we begin to prepare. Like I'm not doing a traditional pesto. Traditional pesto is what, Avery? It's like basically basil,
oil,
pine,
right?
What is it? Pine nuts, Parmesan, Reggiano. Anyways, it's like, I mean, all those things are very super delicious, and I'm not anti on any of those things. But what I did is try to make a medicinal pesto. So this is a delicious pesto, but it is delivering so much more nutrition than any pesto that you're going to pick up in the store. And those might be very flavorful pestos. Like I'm not against anybody, you know, picking that up in the store and using it from the store shelves, but it won't have the kind of medicinal value that this thing is going to have. And speaking of, I should get my mushrooms started right away. I always forget to do that at the last minute. So one of the ingredients, and it can be steeping kind of while I'm cleaning the vegetables here. One of the ingredients on our list is the mushrooms. And so I'm basically using, you can see here, I have the hydrated lion's mane and the maitake. I used this last week as well, I think, in the recipe. And basically what this mushroom, and the reason I'm using dried mushrooms and rehydrating it and chopping it up is to get that almost roasted umami type of flavor. If I was just using fresh mushrooms, I think you're going to get more of like a fresh mushroom kind of flavor. I mean, both of these mushrooms are very delicious, fresh. The extract tastes good of them. These guys taste good, but I think the flavor, what I'm trying to replace or to recreate in this pesto is the Parmesan cheese flavor. And so that's kind of what what these mushrooms are going to do. Earlier we made some, what's the name of the pasta? We even Googled it so we could.
Orecchiette?
Orchetta.
No, I think it's
No.
Orchetti?
Yeah.
Orchetti?
Yeah.
We gotta Google it again. I forgot already. It's terrible. Anyways, he made some fresh pasta, and this is the hot water off of that pasta.
Big long word.
Yeah. That was I bought our pasta. We're gonna do the pesto, and I'm gonna show you a pesto sauce and how to
Orecchiette.
orecchiette. Orecchiette, something like that. Google it, look it up. Anyways, we got that from the pasta bar. They are at the farmers market each week. I don't know if they're in the food. I think they're in the food shed as well. They're a local fresh pasta maker. And so we bought, this is actually fresh pasta we're going to use tonight. You can use anything with what we're going to show you. And we're going to do probably a part 2 after this video of, I'm going to show you how to make a really nice pizza in the, what do they call those? The air fryer. So I have a little air fryer, and I'm going to show you how to make a really nice pizza in the air fryer with this pesto that we're preparing. That'll be part 2, a second episode, and you'll have to go look for that somewhere else. So I think we got about easily that third of a cup that's kind of lightly packed. And if you have a preference as you're making this at home for yourself, if you have a preference of any one of these herbs, like you really enjoy one over the other, you certainly can back on off any of these kind of herbs. Even when I first made this, I wasn't quite sure, like, because I'm not a huge, this is fennel, and I'm not, and it's very licoricey kind of tasting. I'm not a huge fan of it. So I wasn't sure I wanted to have equal amounts fennel, lamb's quarters, and garlic scrapes, but I did it and it was nice. So it came out really nice. So I think that's about, when we're talking about a third of a cup lightly packed, that's kind of what I'm talking about right there. So there's our third of a cup lightly packed. And then we're just going to set it into our, what do you call that? Our food processor there. So I can put these away for another day. And that's our fennel fronds. And again, you don't have to, for this, it's really easy. You don't have to keep a super clean, like, cutting board. All of these vegetables, you know, they're all going into the same pot anyways. But look at this. This is the lamb's quarters that was packed over a week ago. Look how fresh that is. Oh my gosh, I can't believe those are still that fresh and good looking. And they're like over a week have been in this bag and in the refrigerator. It's amazing. Amazing. So all I'm going to do, some people might go straight through their processor, but I'm just going to kind of do a light chop just so I can get that lightly packed third of a cup that I'm looking for. And if you go over, I mean, just throw the chopped pieces back into your, you know, I'm just kind of chopping these into little, I don't know, 1/2-inch pieces or whatever. That's all going to get pulverized into this paste. So you don't have to be super crazy about making it consistent. I just want to get it small enough so that they're kind of fitting into, you know, the thing. And there's your lamb's quarter. That's what your lamb's quarters looks like right there, that guy. So that all goes in there. So third a cup of that. Throw a little bit extra in. I mean, what's with the lamb's quarters? I think you could even go a little bit higher in the lamb's quarters if you wanted to. It's just adding all of that nutrition that we had shown you guys before. This is that, I don't know, is that shining?
Just hold it closer to the wall. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's the lamb's quarters. And we talked about that in a previous show. You can go look back and look that up. There's a lot of really good things for you in those lamb's quarters. So that's why I'm adding that in as a major component. And it's also, it just has a nice green, fresh, you know, it's a wild spinach. So it has like a nice green, fresh flavor taste to it. All right, so these are the beautiful scrapes that are from Adama Farms. And again, we're just going to get after these and just rough chop them so that we can toss it into the third of the cup and kind of just basically what I did is a 1-to-1-to-1 on these first 3 items. And again, you can go any direction that you want to go with items. Something I didn't add to here that I was thinking about is adding, you could add garlic, you could add ginger. Those are all very healing kinds of things.
Yeah, garlic is a big pesto as well.
Yeah, for sure. I left it out of this one. I figured I wanted to focus on the green flavor and stuff. And then like if people wanted to add the garlic in their meal, they could add it, you know, as their, because this is just a component, you know, of whatever it is that you're cooking. So some of the boys are starting to come in from working because I told them, I said, if you drop by during the live, you can taste some really yummy food. So they're starting to come in from their work. All right, so there's, again, about a third of a cup lightly packed. And there's our first 3 main, basically those are our main ingredients, kind of underlining most of the flavor, holding everything together. And then now we're going to come in with some of the stronger herbs. Also tend to be a little bit more medicinal because of, you know, that strength of it. Let's set these aside so I'm confused. All right. Oh, this is something interesting. My recipe calls for 2 of these. I'm just going to grab 2 out of here. I like, if you can get them clean, I like leaving the roots on my spring onions. There's got to be goodness in those roots. You know, a lot of times if roots are edible, they highly recommend you eat roots. So putting 2 spring onions in there. These 2 you might want to chop ahead of time because sometimes these end part of a spring onion can be kind of stringy. So I might just decide to see how that gets a little like papery there. I might decide to go ahead and just chop that up so it pulverizes a little bit better. The container. Then what do we got next? We have the onion roots, the basil leaves. So this is basil. I bought some from the farmer's market and Jane had some. And then for this one, I was supposed to do 2/3. That was a third of a cup. I was supposed to do 2/3 of a cup of each of those. So I'm back to a half a batch. I think I want to go back and add that extra. I have a third of a cup here, and I meant to do 2/3 of a cup of each of those. So I'm going to go back and add those. But I'll just show you here real quick. This is the basil. And again, I would just do like a rough chop so that you can measure it here in your cup. And then I will also quickly go back and grab another third of a cup of those 3 bases that we had, which is the garlic scrapes, the lamb's quarters, and the fennel. So there's about a third of a cup of basil. Put that in. And then let me go back and grab those real quick. Just to kind of, while I chop these up real quick, just as kind of a reminder, our drum circle is this Friday. Please come on out for that. We've got a foraging workshop coming up on July 3rd. Please come out for that. Oh, and thanks everybody. These are the lamb's quarters. Thanks everybody for coming out to Pride. What a fun Pride it was this past weekend. That was super fun. We had a really good time out there on the square. So thank you everybody that stopped by. I met Lucas. Lucas, I'm calling you out because you mentioned this podcast when you were at my booth. I hope you can stop by sometime and watch us do one of these lives. I really enjoyed meeting you. Thank you for being a fan and a supporter of what we're doing here on Hemp Farms. these kind of rough cut. So yeah, we had a really good time at Pride. Weekend before that, we were at the Food Truck Fest. And then what's our next thing coming up? I'm trying to think.
We did Max Happy.
Oh yeah, we did Max Happy too. That was a good time.
You'll be at the fireworks.
Oh, fireworks, 4th of July fireworks. Well, Boba at fireworks, so you want to come out for that for sure. And we'll have Buzzkill there too. I'm telling you, last year the mosquitoes were terrible at the fireworks, and there were so many people running around. I saw people leave because it was so bad. And I'm telling you, our Buzzkill works so well on mosquito prevention. And if you forget to put it on and you spray that on, you've been bit. If you can power through the first 20 minutes or so, it was like you didn't even get bit. So if you're going to any kind of fireworks shows or going camping or being outdoors.
We'll be at the Crystal Lake one too on the 5th. So
Oh, what's on the 5th?
Crystal Lake has their fireworks and everything. We're not doing boba that day though.
Oh, but we're signed up to do that one?
Mhm.
Cool.
Because we sponsor the Crystal Lake band.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay. Yes, I remember now. Yeah. Thank God for Leon. I just can't even stay on top of my.
Well, those are all back to back. We've got
Yeah.
a workshop on the 3rd, fireworks in Woodstock on the 4th,
Right.
fireworks in Crystal Lake on the 3rd, on the 5th. That's that whole weekend.
Right. Okay. Well, come and see us. Plenty of opportunities. Have fun with us. All right. I think I'm caught up with my recipe now. No more mistakes. We got that all going, and we got the basil in there. Now we're doing the measurum.
Smells fresh and green.
Yes, everything is fresh and green for sure. So this is a measurum. Measurum and oregano are very similar. So you could do an oregano if you wanted to instead of this herb. Looks like that'll be about a third of a cup. There's another one where as I look at it, I'm like, oh, do I want that stem in there or not? And sometimes what I'll do is I'll chew on it and see how tender it is. Ooh, that's a super fibrous stem. I do not like that. So that gives me the decision that I need to buck these pieces off of here, not put the stem in the pesto that I want to be like super creamy. So that's what I'm going to do to clean these. Buck these pieces off. This is actually how we buck flour off of hemp. Just do that, pull it through our fingers like that. The good old days when we were in the barn for hours bucking hemp with the community. All right, I do have some videos on. I tried to do a live and I posted one video today. I don't know how they came out. I haven't had a chance to go back and look. Just to kind of show you the hemp field in we had kind of a failure. We sowed the whole field and none of the hemp is coming up, and none of the hemp is coming up from last year. We thought for sure it was going to be a self perpetuating field because we dropped seed in our greenhouses like 7 years ago. And it still has hemp that comes up in there like crazy. That's where I harvested the hemp leaves that we're going to use tonight was from our greenhouses. But there's almost no hemp that's come up. And we put 110 pounds of seed down. And the oats are coming up beautiful. Your flowers that you did, Avery, they're coming up. Everything's looking really good. And I'm finding like, I did a little walk through the prairie, through that hemp field tonight. And I found some wild ground cherries. It's kind of cool to see the stuff that's coming up, but that hemp could easily outcompete that. I mean, I think the field is perfect for the hemp. Mm-hmm. So we actually called.
So nothing's coming up?
Nothing's coming up. But there's it's like far and few between to find a hemp plant out there. So we actually called the seed company that we bought the seed from, and it's a fiber seed varietal, and it's dioecious, so it grows male and female. That's how you get the seeds. We called them, and they said they think that the seeds might have been destroyed in the heat when they shipped from California.
Very possible.
And
shipment always seems to be
right. So I think they're gonna, hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they're gonna honor that and replace. I mean, because that's super out of characteristic for that not to germinate like that.
Yeah.
Like, and look at my intro. The intro and outro for this hemp and healing, where I'm like doing the snow angel in the hemp field. That was last year, and we sowed the exact same amount of seed last year as we sowed this year. And look at it. I mean, look how lush that field is in the video. We did not get that this year. So it's a dilemma. It's not a dilemma. It's a mystery that we're trying to solve. Okay, next we did the measurum. Where's my rosemary? I need the buck rosemary. I threw my rosemary out. I wasn't done with it, and I threw my rosemary out. All right, so the next is the rosemary, and we're doing a third a cup of this rosemary. I thought a third a cup of this rosemary was going to be way too much.
Yeah, rosemary is very strong.
I thought it was going to be way too much, and it wasn't. I don't know, maybe because it's fresh.
Just the mix with the herb, with the other herbs.
Maybe with the other
Like,
things,
yeah.
it just balances. I was worried because this is like, it's like in the pine family or something.
Yeah.
It's very,
Bitter and very.
it's very piney. And I think like, if you don't get these herbs blended right, it could taste like a soap, you know? So, and you definitely want to buck your rosemary, and pick these pieces up off of here, because this woody part on here is very woody, and I don't want wood. You don't want this wood part in your rosemary. But even when you buck it like that, I don't know if it's showing on the camera.
A little higher.
Sometimes you'll get these like little root.
Yeah.
They're a little bit hard, you know, so you kind of want to watch and not get too many of those in. You know, a little bit isn't too bad, but again, we're trying to think ahead about texture and when this is eventually going to go into like a sauce or a soup, or you want it to be creamy, not super fibrousy and something you got to chew on. Nobody likes that. All right, so see, that seems like so much. It seems like way too much. These I like the buck backwards. All the other plants I go like this, but this one, it seems they come easier if you go against the grain. And they come off a little bit easier. Oh, and they're sticky. Boy, it's like resin. That it's super sticky on your fingers. All right. Getting
Yeah,
there.
you produce a lot of juice.
Yeah, they're like, it's almost like it's almost like handling, like your fingers feel the same way when you handle cannabis flower.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that kind of resin. It's interesting. I wonder if we ethanol extracted this rosemary, what that would be like. Wonder if you could smoke it. I smoked cordyceps.
No, yeah.
We got Pat from Bloom Shroomery makes grows cordyceps, and he makes a distillate from it for us. He uses kind of a double extraction process using nanotization also in his process, and then he gives us this extract, and it's like the cordyceps, the extract is like super crystalline and looks real crystal like, and it tastes delicious. It tastes like gristle off of a steak.
Yeah.
Is what it's really delicious.
Really?
Anyways, I'm like, that looks like crack or something. Let's put it in a pipe and smoke it. And so we did. And Pat was like, "Well, did you feel anything from it?" And I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't tell. I couldn't really tell. It wasn't like or anything like that.
To a steak though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's lion's mane there that I've got soaking in our hot water here. It's almost ready for me to chop that up. All right, so here we are
That was purposely
finishing up the again, I'm not pushing this down real hard to make this third of a cup. It's kind of loosely, like a loosely packed third of a cup. And that is of our bucked rosemary. And then we're going on to sage. So get the rosemary in there, and now move on to sage. And I have two different sages in here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of each. One's from Jane's garden. Those big leaves there are from Jane's garden. And then the other is some that I picked up from the farmer's market. They're much smaller little leaves. And they have slightly different flavor profiles for them. So I like them. I thought I'd put them together. And again, you see, I'm not being super fancy with this chop. It's just going in the thing. And it's just kind of getting a little head start. Got to measure. And part of this chop is just so that you can measure it. You're not folding leaves in half and stuff. You're picking up a little bit less airspace as you kind of pack that. Maybe a couple more pieces there. Chop that one. All right. And that is our sage. This is the sage. So 1/3 of a cup of the sage. And then our last, two more herbs.
I missed my favorite herb.
Sage, is that your favorite herb?
It is my favorite herb.
Ah,
I love sage.
all right. So sage, done. Now we have two more herbs. And this was our big find of the week. I'm so excited about this. We had, and just to take a little break here and talk to you about this. We had mint growing on the side of the barn, and that mint is I looked up the
Open
name
that
of
bag. I can smell it.
apple mint. The mint. You can smell the mint.
Yeah.
Yes, I just opened the mint bag, and it's called apple mint. It's that mint looks very dappled. Let me pull some of this mint up here so you can see, and then I'll talk to you about the difference in the two plants. Here's this is the apple mint. See how it's kind of all little molty there? That's the traditional mint that people think of that's growing all around, that they have in their gardens and stuff. This is what Jane has, and I have a little bit of this growing next to the barn, next to the silo. And I remember the first season I did stuff in I did the fairs and festivals, and I did a bunch of lemonades with this fresh mint in it, and people are loving it. So I used it all up. And so I was like, I need a bigger mint bed. And everybody's like, oh, mint spreads like crazy. It spreads like crazy. So I was purposely, trying to take it and spread it around and to get it to grow. But we have dogs. We have these golden retrievers. And it was all around the house, and they were trampling it down and stuff. And then I saw this, what I thought was mint, growing all over the yard, because we have minis in our yard, and the minis kind of mow the lawn, but they were leaving alone what I thought was mint, and it turns out to be mother's wort. That stuff is freaking everywhere. It's medicinal, but it's not very tasty. It's not culinary. Yeah. So I was like super excited, like, oh, I got mint. This is so great. And then I was like, oh no, it's mother's wort. Everybody's got mother's wort. Yesterday, though, I was out walking through the pasture. I was working with the horses, and I was just kind of checking on our elderberry bushes or out in the pasture and stuff. And we have this little stream that runs through the pasture. And I looked at the stream, and I was like, that's mint. There's mint right on the river there. And so I went over and I tasted it, and I was like, yes, that is totally mint. This is what that mint leaf looks like. So you kind of see the difference. This one's more, looks like old man. And this one's younger. It's not as molty, but the leaves are identical. Like this is that regular kind of mint that you usually think of. And then this is the other mint. You see kind of the differences between these two leaves. So come to find out, I taste this, tastes like mint, but it's real mild. It's real nice. And I looked down and it was all along that river. I mean, just bushes and bushes everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, I found the mint path. So I was so excited and I come running in and I tell Jane, I'm like, Jane, I found the mint. We got mint all over the farm. And then she came out and she was like, that's not mint. And then we Googled it and like double checked and cross checked. And it's just two different. She did right away acknowledge it was in the mint family. She just wasn't sure how good it was going to be. And once we looked it up, it's actually called, let me get the name right. It's called river mint. And it typically grows in real wet, moist areas or along river bed streams and stuff. So we have a ton of river mint. So I'm mixing just a little bit of this mint's a lot stronger and this mint's a little bit more mild. So I'm mixing these two together to get our, I'm doing 1/3 cup, again, lightly packed of this river mint. What did I do with my cup? There it is. So we're doing river mint with, oh man, as I cut that, you can smell, we need smell-o-vision. That's like so strong. Wow. Wow. It's really nice. So we got tons of river mint. And this is what's helping. You know, like if we're gonna, I'm hoping to make this, maybe you can pull up that graphic, Leon. I'm hoping to make this into a commercial product that we can actually sell to you. And my big idea was to do it in cubes. I mean, that's what we do at home a lot of times is we make different like sauce flavorings and stuff you're going to make out of gravy. You save it as an ice cube in the freezer, and then it's like super easy to use. There's my river mint and a little bit of apple mint in there. I think if that whole 1/4 of a cup was apple mint, it would be way too much. So if you don't have access to river mint, if you want to get some, you come to my farm. But if you don't have access to river mint, I would way cut back that apple mint. And then the last super secret leafy ingredient is hemp leaves. So we're doing 1/3 of a cup of fresh harvested hemp leaves. And so that's what we got here. This is, again, harvested from our greenhouse. There's no cannabinoids in these hemp leaves. All right. This, again, is another superfood. Google it. Look at all the vitamins and minerals that are said to be in hemp leaves. Our goal is to eventually grow this commercially and make juice out of it, besides the pesto. Right now we are using, because we have limited amounts, we are using it as an ingredient to our bobas, but we're not selling cold pressed hemp leaf juice just yet, just because we don't really have that kind of volume to start marketing it widely. So there's our hemp leaves chopped up. The one thing you want to be really careful of when you go to harvest your hemp leaves is hemp is grown for fiber. So that stalks and stems on hemp are super strong, and you do not want any of those unless it's a super tender leaf. That's what you want. You don't want any of the sticks or stems in there. And you can see I can hardly even find one as I'm picking through this. That's probably the most stem right there. And it's pretty tender. You know, it was, as I'm tasting it, you know, that's pretty tender piece because it was a really small plant. So you just have to be really careful when you harvest your hemp leaves. You don't want something that's super fibrous. All right. You want the most tender pieces. Okay, that's that. What else do we got here? We did the hemp leaves. Oh, hemp hearts. So again, this is how we're making this a little bit more nutritious. We're doing hemp hearts instead of, what do they typically use? It's nuts, the pine nuts. So this is like, this blows pine nuts out of the water. Come on. Do a comparison. Ask ChatGPT to give you a comparison between pine nuts, nutritional value, and hemp hearts. So I'm putting an entire cup. So this is a third of a cup. So I'm dumping in an entire cup here of hemp hearts. Hemp hearts can be kind of peanut buttery and become creamy. So you don't want to too overdo the amount that you're putting in your thing. So, but I tested this. This comes out really nice with 1 cup. And then we have a couple more ingredients. So one is another cup of this nutritional yeast, but I'm going to blend this up a little bit before I try to add some more ingredients. But I want to put some liquid in here, and that's the oil. So I'm going to hold back the nutritional yeast. I still have that yet to do. We did the 1 cup of hemp hearts, and then we do a whole lemon. So I think this lemon, you can think about it. This is almost a whole lemon. It's about 3/4 of a lemon. My mom thought a whole lemon, when we did that previous one, she thought that tasted a little too lemony, but sometimes some of these flavors soften. So I don't have quite a whole lemon there. I was too lazy to cut up a new one. So, but I think I would still stay with a whole lemon. Kind of how lemony you like things to be. And that's the other thing you could do. Like I could do this half lemon, grind this up, taste it. And then if I want any of the herbs to have a more dominant space in that flavor profile, you can just add more herbs. I mean, it's super easy to do that. All right. So I have the lemon and I need the oil. So my thing is 1 1/3 cups of sunflower oil. So we're basically doing 4 of these 1/3 cups in here, and then I'll put the lid on and we'll give it a grind. And we're almost finished with our pesto. So I'll do 4 of these. 2, 3. And I'll save the other one. Save the 4th. After I blend it here for a minute. Use a spatula and kind of get that down a little bit. Make sure my blade's in straight. I always overstuff things. This is a Ninja I'm using. There's like, they can be a lot cheaper than like a Cuisinart or something like that, but I think they work just as good. Show you. Hopefully it works good. I used the same Ninja, but the smaller one to do a half batch of this earlier, and it might not work as good. I don't know. We'll see here. If it won't, we'll do the like magic TV pretend kind of. And 20 minutes later, 2 minutes later, look at the beautiful pesto we got. So we can always cut to the end if this doesn't give me a better grind here. I think I just needed to put all of that. Here we go. All of that oil. I also have yet to put in my nutritional yeast and the umami, kind of the mushrooms that we have here. And that'll add a little bit of moisture too. That one's not quite ready. This maitake takes a little bit longer than the lion's mane to fully rehydrate. And again, you want to kind of get these guys early on chop, and then we'll put it in there.
So you rehydrated the mushrooms.
Yes, I'm not putting them in dried. I'm rehydrating it. But
And-
there's, instead of using, there's a different taste to the rehydrated mushroom versus a fresh lion's mane mushroom. And I don't want to put in a powdered one. I don't know that. I guess I could try that. Like we could pulverize the dried one and add it just as a powder. That
I think
might
the
work.
rehydrating though has a flavor to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be just a
You
little bit
still get the
different.
benefits,
Right.
no matter what.
Yeah. So I just want to get this one, make sure.
Do you need
it's-
more hot water? Or is
Um,
that?
I don't think so. But again, it's like whatever mushroom you add. There's some mushrooms that I brought back from Ukraine, and some like can have kind of woody parts, that you really can never get real soft. You just cut those pieces out. So I'm gonna let that soak. Let that guy soak a little bit longer. But now, I mean, if it's too thick, like if I'm finding this is too thick and it's not quite working, I would just add more oil is what I would add to it. I think I think there's plenty of oil in here. I think it's more of my my jankety 20-year-old ninja that I'm trying to use as a food processor. It's supposed to be used for this, but it just doesn't seem super efficient. So I'm going to try one more grind here, and if it gets going, great, and if it doesn't, we'll just put it down with product equipment failure. So we grind that. And again, for sake of time, I think I am going to cut to our next thing because I want to show you how to take this pesto and make something out of it. But just to show you this, I would keep going after this. If I had a decent food processor, I'm kind of on the hunt for one. If someone wants to gift me one, I will totally take that. I would just keep blending this, food processing it. You're going to add the nutritional yeast to that. That's also going to give you that umami flavor and replaces the Parmesan that you would normally add to this. And then what else do we have in there? Oh, salt and pepper. So I would just add I like the Celtic salt. I would add that to it. And then I would just add some fresh ground pepper to it. And then you're going to continue to blend that into a paste. And then we'll go back to our kind of finished product here, which is, let me move some of these things, this guy here. And that was our test one that we had made, that I had made yesterday to get this exact recipe that you're taking a look at here. All right. So now what I can show you is, let's do a pasta dish with this pesto. Oh, and did you bring up the bag? Did we show that? The side by side, like our mock-up of that? Cool. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. That I'll show you what some cubes look like. We had a mold already of that we used for gummies a long time ago, and it's really small little cubes, and I thought, oh, that might be really good because instead of ice cube size, but I'm worried about them holding up in the bag and staying in their little cubes. But these are our kind of cute little cubes. So I basically took this, and I'll show you a mold. Where's my molds? You can use basically just an ice cube tray that you have, but I use this silicone mold. And then we kind of put the pesto in there and just froze it and then popped them out. And then you can just pop it into a freezer bag. Some people will just keep them in their ice trays inside, inside the ice tray inside their freezer. But that one is plugged in already. I'm good to go. Oh, you're just cleaning up from it. So anyways, that's what you can do with this pesto, because this is only going to last for a couple of, I wouldn't even use it past maybe 3 or 4 days. It'll continue to oxidize and it'll like turn brown and start to lose its fresh green flavor almost immediately. I mean, it still tastes delicious, but I think you want to keep that. You can come on in, Luke.
Oh, okay.
We're filming, but you can come on in. We're just getting ready to cook up some pasta, so you can give it a try. Boys again are starting to come in from working, and they heard there was going to be some pasta tonight, so we're going to get after that. So now I have we've cooked up some fresh pasta that we picked up. I can show, from the pasta bar. So this is a local company. We picked this up at the Woodstock Farmers Market this weekend, and wash my hands again after touching all this stuff. Because I want to touch these pastas here, and then we cooked up these beautiful little pastas. I thought these taste really good, but I hate how they nest. Make sure my thing's up. See how these nest in here? I hate that. They like get stuck together. They like nest in each other. And even when you put it in the sauce, they're like hard to, like I want them to be apart so that when I eat that little bite. And we added oil after we did it. So Avery wasn't any more sick because I prepared the same meal for myself last night. Avery wasn't any more successful in keeping those from, see how they're nesting?
Yeah.
But my mom said she liked that. She liked the taste of that big chunk of, I should call the pasta bar and talk to that lady this weekend at the farmer's market and ask her, like, how do you prevent that from happening? I don't know. So we'll see. There's some separate pieces. And so even when you start to cook this into the sauce, I don't care how much you stir it in. I mean, look how stuck those pieces are together. They just will not come apart. And I feel like you pull them apart and you stick it back in there and they find themselves. They find each other. They don't want to be alone. They find each other somehow. I don't know. Give me a time. What are we at right now? 58. Oh, geez, we're at 58. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up and do a quick, I don't know. Maybe we should do a part 2, a part 2 and a part 3. I think let's do that. And then a little teaser, and then we can cut it. I can kind of clean my space and we can start the next thing.
Sure.
So we're only at an hour. That's usually what we like to do our lives each week. I'm going to cut it here for our live, but look on our Facebook and our YouTube page and all of that. What I'm going to get ready to film is I'm going to show you a delicious pasta dish that's using our pesto that we just made, this beautiful fresh pasta that we just cooked up. And look at these gorgeous button mushrooms. Look at these guys. I'm going to show you a dish where we pan fry these mushrooms, deglaze the pan with aronia berry juice, and then make the pesto in a nice cream sauce. So we're going to show that in another video. And then in a third video, a second follow-up video, we're going to show you how to use the pesto and use your air fryer to make a delicious and low-cost, super healthy pizza and kind of curb that craving. And I'm telling you guys, like, you follow some of these recipes that I've been laying down here and like these ideas about how to like use stuff from your garden and how to go get wild forage stuff. I don't care if you use a little bit of butter and you use a little bit of fat and you eat a little bit of meat from here to there. You don't have to be like super vegan and eat like a rabbit. Like you can have very comforting, satisfying meals without adding tons and tons of calories or bad fats. that, kind of clog you up. So thank you for catching this version, this 1 hour episode of Hemp and Healing. I hope you enjoyed the little chit chat, little things I had to share tonight. We're staying positive as always through the Hempocalypse. Come get your last bits of stuff that you like to get from us, because most of it's going away in November. But as you can see, we're pivoting and I'm bringing some new ideas and new health and healing to you, and incorporating hemp all along the way. We're still keeping our true to our hearts that we believe that hemp is a gateway drug to health. So enjoy. We'll see you next time.
I just wanna rewind, bring me back to my prime. The Wi-Fi still felt so live, freestyling on beats outside. Whole squad with the sour spray vibes, no fake flex.